here we have today Maria Elena Rousseau. She's the founder of Trinity Transformations, which is a company devoted to helping anxious overachievers release shame and guilt that they've been hanging on to surrounding high depression and or anxiety. Emmy struggled with high-functioning depression for years and developed a robust toolbox that allowed her to stop feeling like she was treading water and eventually truly thrive. What began that journey for her was the growth mindset, something she found as a teacher to the elementary school children, to her elementary school children, In doing so, she found what it's key to beginning her own healing. She now brings those tools and strategies she has learned adults in speaking and coaching. All right, and now you can go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thanks to the people in the chat that are saying about Sarah's voice. Are you hearing me clearly before I start?
Yes. Okay, we're all good with the audio, I believe.
Okay, all right. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. So I will get started and hopefully we will have no audio issues. I want to take a moment to just welcome you. And I'm not sure if anybody is here that was at the last CFO conference that I was speaking at. I'd love to know that you're a return guest with me. But today we're going to talk about slowing down to get more done. And I, first of all, applaud you for coming to that, because I think that it takes courage to even attend a presentation like that at a CFO conference. So kudos to you. So I'm going to skip over this because Sarah did a good job of introducing me and who I am, and want to let you know that, of course, today we will be discussing how slowing down can improve your overall well-being and productivity. And I want you to think about all of those 4 parts of you. It's not just, we often think that they're separate entities that don't work together, but they really do all work together when we are at our ultimate health, and we can do things to help them work together better. So when we take time to slow down our mind, it can help our body be better and be more productive as well, and vice versa. So the first thing I'd love to do is, if you're willing to do it in the chat, great. If not, just, in your mind, think about, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being totally stressed and 10 being totally relaxed, how have you been feeling most of the time over the past month? Feel free to type in the chat. Thank you, Kieran. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Murray. And I'm sure I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Divakar Kavi, thank you. Thank you, Rafiq. Again, I apologize for names mispronounced. It's actually a pet peeve of mine. I'm doing my best, but one day maybe we'll meet in person and you can tell me how to pronounce your name, which would be great. And so that's good. All right, so we have quite a variety here, you can see, and that is normal, okay? Quite normal. So if you feel more like this, know that you're not alone. You can see just from the chat, and I know there are more that didn't answer in the chat, and that's totally fine, but you aren't alone if this is you feeling totally stressed and overwhelmed. And so today we're going to learn how and why we can and should slow down to actually get more done. Because I know as CFOs, you are probably, most of you would identify as overachievers. If you say, yep, that's me, type yes in the chat, because I know that that's our type of job, right? And I am not a CFO, and yet I was an overachiever. And that's why I wanted to come to talk to you today. So I want us to just, for a minute, take 1 minute to arrive. And so we're going to do a 1 minute grounding exercise. Bear with me. If you've never done it before, it's okay. You will survive. You'll be okay. And I'm not being sarcastic. I know it can be like annoying, scary, freaky to try things that are new. 1 minute. Stick with me. Okay, so close your eyes. Or if you're not comfortable with closing your eyes, I would invite you to just look down diagonally at the floor, just so you're not distracted by a lot of other things. And I want you to start to just breathe in and out through your nose if you're able to. Just noticing your breath. You don't have to change it. You don't have to deepen it. None of that. And start with noticing how you feel at the top of your head. And we're just going to do a quick body scan going down past your eyes, all the way between your ears, your jaw. Notice how each of these parts are feeling. There may be parts that feel loose, parts that feel more tense, and you're just noticing. Moving down your neck, shoulders, down your torso, front and back body. Notice how you feel in your hips, your thighs, moving your focus down over your knees, shins and calves. Notice your ankles and your feet. And just breathe in one more time. A bit of a deeper breath, and breathe out all the way down through your feet. And just acknowledge how you're arriving today. Perhaps this morning you had a stressful meeting. Perhaps you're feeling great because you had a great meeting. Maybe you just came from a presentation that was wonderful, or maybe it didn't live up to your expectations. So for whatever variety of reasons, we can arrive in different ways. And it's okay. It's good to just notice that and acknowledge it. So I just want to talk briefly about the science. We all have our it's been a long day for me. Now I'm going to mess up this word. Autonomic nervous system response. There we go. We either have the sympathetic response, which is the fight, flight, or freeze response, or we have the parasympathetic response, which is the rest and digest response. And whichever one we train to be more dominant will be. Naturally, in today's society, we tend to be more often in the sympathetic response. And our body doesn't know the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. So it physiologically reacts the same way. When we activate our sympathetic nervous system, that's the stress response, it will increase our heart rate, and it affects all of these organs. When we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, we decrease the heart rate, and again, it affects all of these organs. So let's look at these two people here. And I would love for you to, again, type in the chat. I'm a very interactive person, so the more you engage with me, the faster we'll flow through, believe me. But I think you'll get more out of it too. Would you rather be the person on the left or the person on the right? The person on the left, of course, having irritability, anxiety, high blood pressure, fatigue, muscle tension, and depression, or the person on the right, who we can see feels much calmer, happier. Which one would you rather be? Roy, the person on the right. Thank you. And listen, if you say you would rather be the person on the left, that's okay. I honor that. We are all different, and we have the right to our own opinions. Some people like to be in their stress response. That's okay too. Well, it's okay to acknowledge that. So anyways, thank you. Great question. What is progressive relaxation? I'm going to ask you to just hold that to the end, and I will try to remember to come back to that, Kieran. But if I don't, please ask me when I say, are there questions? Because I want to answer that question. You can see all these things here: visualizing positive and healing images, breathing, progressive relaxation, meditate. Even if you don't know what all of them are, I can imagine that you can say, yeah, you know what? Those are things that we have to slow down for. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So what do we notice when we slow down? It really does allow us to do all of these things. Think more clearly. And I want you to think about, is this something, an outcome I would like to have in my life? Would I like to be able to think more clearly? Would I like to be able to hear the sound muted by my busy thoughts? To see things I don't usually notice? to move in a more comfortable and pleasant way? Would I like to be able to connect with myself and the world in a more mindful way? And would I like to be able to communicate more intently? Of course, we can take these things from at work as CFOs, but we can also take them into our personal lives as well. And it's important that we do both. So some of the ways I would imagine that you can see that it's beneficial to slow down. We're going to talk about how we can do that. So one of the best things I ever did was to start with a morning routine. And let me tell you, what I didn't tell you about my story is I was stuck on the hamster wheel for years. I was the single mom who was a teacher, who had 2 part-time jobs because I had to, make sure I could still pay for rep hockey. Then I had to take my kids to rep hockey. I was nonstop. And when people would ask me how I do it, I would say, I just keep going. That's my key to success. I wonder if anybody can relate to that. So once I read the book, The 5 a.m. Club, actually there was a book Robin Sharma wrote before that. I forget which one I read. The Monk, no, Leader Without a Title. I don't know if anybody's read that book. Amazing book. He talks about a lot of the 5 a.m. Club principles in that book. And I believe that's when I first started to wake up at 5 a.m. Now, I've had some times where I haven't stuck with that, but overall, it's been about 5 years that it has been a morning routine for me to get up at 5 a.m. And these are some of the things you can include in your morning routine. Game changer. The days that I just say, oh, I need some more sleep, I can't do it. Sometimes I do need more sleep, but I always feel more groggy those days. So it makes such a difference to start with a morning routine. And your morning routine doesn't have to look like all of these things either. I want to stress that you want to start small. Maybe pick one thing that you think, yeah, I really like that one. I'm going to try it out. And maybe you're only starting with 5 minutes. You set your alarm for 5 minutes earlier, or 10 minutes, or 15 minutes, whatever you can do so that you will be successful. So it can include things like meditation, prayer, gratitude journaling, inspirational reading, listening to positive podcasts, or other, motivational videos, stretching, yoga, exercise of any sort. Actually, vigorous exercise is also great in the morning. I always do 20 minutes in the morning. So I want to focus on 2 of those things. Gratitude. It really is the greatest mood shifter. If you can sit and look at a situation and think, what is there to be grateful for in this situation? It up-levels your mood faster than anything else I've seen. These are just a few of the things that I have been grateful for. I'd love if you're open to sharing in the chat over the last year what one of your greatest gifts has been coming out of all of this. So for me, just being able to take time to really slow down, that was a huge lesson for me. I was able to speak on my first international stage. I'm going to be part of a docu-series called 4 Days to Save the World. That would never have happened if I didn't speak on this stage, which was a gift of COVID. I had more time with my 14 to 21-year-old children. And we all know, like, kids that age don't want to spend time with their parents. So such gifts. And as we look through, just to see if anybody did want to share anything in the chat about what you're grateful for, I'd love to hear it. I have 2 book recommendations on top of the Robin Sharma books I already talked about. If you would like to learn more about gratitude or more about meditation. The Magic is a book by Rhonda Byrne. Fantastic. It has 30 days of practices you can put into place to grow your gratitude practice. And honestly, there is magic that will happen. I don't know how else to describe it to you other than you will notice magic happening. It's incredible. Every single person I know that's read it has had that same experience. It's insane. The other book, if you are not a meditator, meditating, I am not a cookie cutter person. Everybody has to find what works for them. But I will tell you that meditation is the one thing I encourage everyone to do. And again, I didn't always used to be that person. I used to think, oh, I can't meditate. Absolutely not. When I was diagnosed with high functioning depression, I, of course, had a psychiatrist. I was on medication, and I would see him every few months to check in on how things were going. And he would always ask me, are you meditating? And I would always say, yes, of course. Yeah, I'm meditating. I wasn't meditating because I tried for like 6 months to calm this monkey mind and nothing was working. So eventually you just get frustrated. Why would you keep banging your head against the wall, right? But then I am so blessed to have been able to come in contact with an amazing coach who said to me, why don't you try silent meditation? And then honestly, I thought she was the one who needed some mental help, because I was like, how am I going to go from guided meditation that tells me what to do to being alone with my thoughts and silencing them? No. But I did learn that meditation is not about silencing your thoughts, first of all. You will calm your thoughts. They will naturally start to calm, and you'll actually open up to amazing revelations. When I meditate, I get some of my best business ideas. When I first started to meditate, I had to have a notebook beside me. And so I'd have it actually on my lap and I'd be meditating. And then this amazing download would come and I'd open my eyes, write it down, close the book, go back to meditating, because I was afraid I was going to lose these amazing ideas. So Emily's book, she does meditation for achievers, high achievers. She says this is not a book for monks, and she actually recommends meditating twice a day. You can read the book to learn more. You can do Ziva meditation online and, go through her course. But I would say it's like reading. People who tell me they don't like to read, it hurts my heart because I'm a teacher. But I say, just try another genre. Chances are you haven't found the genre that you love. And it's the same with meditation. There are so many types of meditation. So if you've tried one and you think it doesn't work for you, try another. Try another. Yes, give it a couple of weeks. I'm not saying try it once. It might not work for you on the first time, but give it some time. In fact, when I read her book a few months ago and went from once a day to twice a day meditation, the first 3 weeks, she has 8 chapters on the benefits of meditation. And I thought, okay, I'm ready for more of all of this. I'm excited. And in the first 3 weeks, I didn't notice one extra benefit. And then after that, incredible. So I actually spent time meditating right before I came to you, because I'd been on a podcast right before that. And do what brings you joy every day. And if you're not sure, a lot of us get out of touch with what brings us joy because we're stuck on that hamster wheel and we have no time for joy. So go back and think about, what did you love doing as a child? Like, did you not want to jump on the furniture or the bed as a child? Every kid I know loved that. Try it. Okay, most of us working from home, we have the opportunity to jump on the sofa or a bed a lot more than we did before. Perhaps it's playing a board game with the family. Perhaps it's singing karaoke. Perhaps it's jumping in puddles. Find what brings you joy and do it every day. And then end with a nighttime routine. And I'm going to give you a minute to read through this and just tell you that if you pick just one of these things, again, it doesn't have to be all of them, but if you do not shut off or silence your phone already, that would be my number one tip to you. And in fact, I would recommend that you actually take it right out of your bedroom. And I know I'm going to get radical here. Hearing radical things, meditate, and don't put your phone in your bedroom ever, ever, ever. Now, I'm not perfect at that, 100%. There are nights where I take it in because I'm talking on the phone and I just want to relax. But then those are the nights that when I get off the phone call, I'll start scrolling through social media and all of a sudden I'm up a half an hour, 45 minutes longer than I wanted to be. Sleep is so critical to our well-being, physical and mental well-being. So let's commit to that if nothing else. And I bet a lot of you are saying, but I don't have time. Believe me, I get it. Like someone who's taking your kid to the hockey rink 5 days a week, I get it. And then all the other things I told you that I was doing. What I will tell you is, if you think you don't have time, that's when you know you need to make the time, especially for meditation. That's what Emily will tell you, Emily Fletcher. The people that tell her they don't have time, it happens to her all the time, she'll say, okay, try it for a couple of weeks. 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon. It's amazing how much more productive you will be. So 2 things that really can get your productivity and your focus going again like that is meditating for 15 minutes and doing 20 minutes of heart rate raising cardio. So if you take one of those 2 and do it when you have that afternoon slump, you know, where you want to have a nap, so maybe you go get some more coffee, or maybe you have a donut, or maybe you have something else that's not such a healthy alternative to get you through the rest of the day. If you did this instead, I don't know the stat on meditation, but I know for exercise, it can increase your focus. Just 20 minutes of cardio can increase your focus for 2 hours. So imagine how much more productive you would be if the last 2 hours of your workday are focused hours. So you're saying you don't have time. I want you to go back and think again. Which person do you want to be? And that'll make your decision. Like, you really have to think about that. So I would bet my bottom dollar that most of you already are really good at scheduling, at the very least for work. It takes a very organized person to be a CFO. So I have no doubt that you are scheduled to the nines. However, perhaps a few things that you might be able to do to tweak your schedule a little bit. And if you're already doing this, I would love for you to type in the chat that you're already doing this. That's fantastic. I want to celebrate you. And if you're not already doing it, it's okay. It's not a shame thing. This is just something we can learn and grow from. So after every 3 blocks, build in a 5-minute joy break. There, you got your joy in your day. Block 15 minutes between appointments as a buffer. That's the one I still struggle with. I forget to block off 15 minutes as a buffer. Anybody else like that? Where you just book back-to-back meetings, appointments, all of that? That's what I tend to do. So I'm learning and practicing that one there. Stick to your schedule, but be flexible and understanding. Our schedule can actually provide us freedom as long as we're the ones running the schedule. It's not running us. Nobody's perfect, okay? We are going to stumble. Forgive yourself and others in the process as you're like, hey, I'm going to be making some changes. Forgive. Now, any questions? And I remember, Kieran, well, I did remember, but it's fine to go back to here. If anybody else has questions, please do type them in the chat now. Progressive relaxation is just progressively, exactly as it says, relaxing different parts of your body. So you would start being all tensed up. So just tense every part of your body. And then you would say, okay, you then relax the different parts of your body. So I'm going to relax my hands, tense them up, relax my hands, tense my feet, relax my feet. I don't know why I squinted my eyes every time I do that, but that's part of it. Tense my eyes, relax. And you can start from the top of your head and work down so you don't forget anything. But that is progressive relaxation. So hopefully that, and then you would again at the end tense your whole body and relax. So that's progressive relaxation. What is the best color regarding relaxation? That's a great question. Is it Nikolai? Anyways, fantastic name and wonderful question. I am not a color expert, but I have heard that the more common colors are blue, beige. There was another one, I forget. I haven't done color like therapies and stuff in quite some time. The opposite would be like red, yellow, orange. Those are exciting and activating colors. So relaxation colors are going to be the more cool colors on the spectrum. I hope that helps. That's a great question. Does anyone else have any other questions? Good. I'm glad you're okay with blue. And the thing is too, I think we all have to like do what calls to us too, right? Like, yes, we don't want to maybe put red on when we're trying to relax. We don't want to visualize red necessarily. And not all of us can visualize either, and that's okay. So don't feel like if you don't visualize when you're meditating that you're doing something wrong. You're not. Oh, that's good. That's a good question too. But yeah, pick the color that speaks to you. And like, I love purple. So even though purple is probably a more energizing color, I could maybe look to a lavender that is a little calmer, right? So we can even, you know, if yellow is your favorite color, maybe pick like baby yellow, you know? So I think, but again, I'm not a color expert, so don't quote me on that one. How long should your nighttime routine be? It is hard to transition after a day's work. So here's what I'm going to tell you the experts say. The experts say 3 hours off of screen time before bed. I cannot imagine, honestly, 3 hours off of screen time before bed. My goal is 1 hour off of screen time before bed. And that's my hour to start to wind down. It doesn't always look exactly the same, my nighttime routine, because I find luckily I'm one that it is easy for me to go to sleep most times. But if you have a routine, you're training your brain, right? So your brain starts to know, oh, hold on a second, he or she turned off or they turned off the, the phone. This is a signal. Maybe it's getting time to get ready for bed. Then perhaps you're having a shower. Maybe you're reading a book. And I don't recommend reading like high tension things, like a crime drama at night. No, read something relaxing. Someone recently recommended to me that I love nonfiction now, like personal development, personal growth. I read that all the time. Fiction I love too, but I don't read as much. So she was recommending to read the personal development in the morning or the nonfiction in the morning and to read fiction at night because it does activate a different part of your brain that helps you to relax. So perhaps fiction. So hopefully, Kieran, that answers your question. Does anyone else have any other questions? I love these questions. They're great questions. Now, you might think of other questions as we go, and that's fine. Here's different services that I offer. If you'd like to get in touch with me for more, I do have a gift for you too. I forgot to tell you. Oh, I think I put it in the chat that I had a gift, and I do. So if you would like a scheduling template, there is science that shows when you're starting something new. I am a schedule on my phone girl, but there is science that shows it activates your reticular activating system to actually write it out. So you can get a free scheduling template by going to bit.ly/start scheduling. If you would like to book a discovery call with me about one-on-one coaching, about the group programs, when I'm not offering them right now, but you can find out more about them, or about speaking to your group. I would love to come and speak to your group. You can book this discovery call at bit.ly/call with Emmy. I'm going to put those in the chat for you after. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram at Transform with Emmy, Emmy at trinitytransformations.com, or my website, www.trinitytransformations.com. You can find all my stuff there as well. And I really just want to thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you found one tip that you're going to go and try. And if you're courageous, I would encourage you to type that one thing you're going to try in the chat box now before you go. Stay safe, keep healthy mentally, spiritually, and physically. And a special thank you to torontojobs.ca for having me as a speaker today. I want to make sure I always put this in wrong. So as I put it in the chat, thank you, Mark. I'm going to just put it, yes, good, Marsha, 20 minutes of aerobics in the morning. That's great. And by the way, that's a great idea. But Jim Quick, a brain expert, does say that as little as 3 minutes of cardio in the morning can start to have those benefits. So he does it while he's waiting for his coffee to percolate. So if you think 20 minutes is too much for you, Marsha, you're good. But anybody else, I encourage you to start with just 3 minutes. Doesn't everybody think they could do something for 3 minutes? I'm just typing these things into the chat for you. Yoga before the end of the day, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or you want to, learn more. And the last thing I want to say is we are all in this together. I know that sounds cliche, but it's really true.
All right, amazing. Thank you, Emmy, for your time. It's always a pleasure having you at all of our events. I know now that we're working from home, getting in a routine is one of the hardest but most important things we can do to be productive with our day. So I think your session today helped us a lot with that. So I just wanted to thank you again, and thank you for leaving all your information so that we can have a little extra help with everything.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. It's always a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to be here.
All
Have a
right,
great day.
amazing. Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye.